In a world where demons secretly walk among humans, one man stands between heaven and hell. This man is fighting a battle that most people do not even know exists. He is haunted by scary visions and cursed with a strange gift that lets him see things no normal person can see. Every day, he fights dangerous supernatural creatures while slowly uncovering dark secrets far worse than he ever expected. So this story begins in the broken ruins of an old church in Mexico. Two friends are exploring the place, looking around out of curiosity. But suddenly, one of them, Manuel, accidentally steps into a hole in the ground. As he looks around inside, he finds something strange buried there. It looks like the sharp tip of a spear. But this is no normal object. It is actually the spear of destiny, the same spear that was used to pierce Jesus Christ during the crucifixion. For years, this powerful artifact had been missing, and now somehow Manuel has found it. The moment he touches the spear, something feels very wrong. Manuel suddenly starts acting strange, almost like he is not himself anymore. Without saying anything, he quietly walks away from the church ruins. His friend gets confused and calls out to him, but Manuel does not even turn back. A few moments later, while crossing the road, Manuel gets hit hard by a speeding car. The impact should have killed him instantly. But then something shocking happens. A strange mark suddenly appears on his arm. Instead of dying, Manuel slowly gets up from the hood of the car like nothing even happened. Without saying a word, he simply walks away, leaving everyone confused. Meanwhile, far away in a poor neighborhood of Los Angeles, a worried mother is making tea for her daughter. Everything seems normal at first, but when she walks into her daughter's room, she freezes in fear. The girl is hanging from the ceiling, and the look on her face is terrifying. She has an evil smile, and it is clear that something very dark has taken control of her. Not long after, a taxi stops outside the house. Inside is John Constantine, a famous exorcist known for dealing with evil spirits and dark creatures. Constantine is not an ordinary man. He understands the hidden world of demons and uses his knowledge to fight the darkness that normal people cannot see. He has been called here by his friend, Father Hennessy, who already tried to save the girl, but failed. Even he could not remove the demon controlling her. Knowing something dangerous is waiting inside, Constantine calmly walks through the hallway and enters the girl's room. Inside, the young woman is tightly tied to the bed by her hands and legs, clearly trying to stop her from hurting herself or anyone else. The room feels dark and creepy, almost like something evil is hiding inside. John calmly walks toward the window and suddenly pulls back the curtain. Bright sunlight fills the room as he takes out a strange medallion he carries with him. Then, he slowly walks toward the girl. Instead of being scared, Constantine starts provoking the demon, almost challenging it to show itself. And just seconds later, the evil spirit finally reacts. The demon suddenly reveals its presence through the girl. But John is ready. He quickly presses the glowing medallion against the girl's face, and suddenly, her skin starts burning, as if the object is hurting the evil spirit inside her. A moment later, the girl suddenly goes unconscious, but the fight is not over yet. The demon suddenly appears again around her neck, trying to fight back. Without even hesitating, Constantine punches the creature away. At this point, John realizes something important. This demon is much stronger than he first thought. Knowing he cannot waste time, he quickly asks the people inside the house to bring him a mirror and place it on the bed. After that, he warns everyone about something very important. He tells them to keep their eyes closed no matter what happens. Now Constantine begins the exorcism ritual, but one person inside the room ignores his warning and secretly opens his eyes. And instantly, something terrible happens. A strange curse hits the man, and within seconds, all of his hair and beard suddenly turn completely gray. The shocking moment distracts Constantine for a second, and the demon quickly tries to attack him. Still, John refuses to back down. He somehow manages to finish the ritual just in time, trapping the demon inside the mirror. But the demon is still fighting hard. The creature starts trying to break the glass from the inside. Seeing that the mirror might shatter any second, Constantine quickly grabs it and throws it straight out of the window. The mirror crashes right onto the top of a parked taxi below and breaks into pieces. And just like that, the demon is finally dragged back to hell. At last, the young woman becomes free from the possession. After everything is over, Constantine says goodbye to Father Hennessy. But before leaving, he gives the priest a strange request. He tells Hennessy to stop wearing his protective amulet for a few days, because without it, Hennessy will be more connected to the supernatural world and may find out why such a powerful demon possessed the girl in the first place. Even though he knows it could be dangerous, the priest agrees and decides to investigate. After talking to Father Hennessy, John heads back to the taxi, but the moment he gets inside, Chaz, his driver and assistant, starts complaining. He is clearly upset because Constantine threw a mirror straight onto the roof of his car during the exorcism. Meanwhile, in a nearby church, Detective Angela Dodson enters for confession. Earlier, she had taken down a criminal during a dangerous case, and the incident is clearly still bothering her. After confession, Angela goes back home and tries to get some sleep, but that night she had a terrifying nightmare. In the dream, she sees a woman who looks exactly like her standing inside a hospital room. The woman suddenly escapes from the room and slowly walks to the top of the building. Then, without any fear or hesitation, she jumps. Her body falls straight down into the hospital swimming pool below. At the same time, in another part of the city, Constantine is at home. But suddenly he starts coughing badly. This time, it is much worse. He coughs so hard that blood comes out. The next day, John goes to the hospital to get checked. There, doctors give him terrible news. Because of years of heavy smoking, Constantine now has terminal lung cancer, and according to the doctors, he does not have much time left. At that same hospital, Angela receives an emergency call. When she arrives, she freezes in shock. The nightmare she saw last night was real. The woman from her dream was actually her twin sister, Isabel. Angela sadly finds Isabel's dead body, and investigators quickly call it suicide. They say Isabel jumped from the hospital roof, but Angela refuses to believe it. Something about the whole thing feels wrong to her. Hours later, Constantine returns home and gets a visit from his friend Beeman, who brings special weapons and strange tools John had ordered. Among them are holy water bottles used against strange magical insects, and a weapon called Dragon's Breath, which can shoot powerful bursts of fire. Beeman gets curious and asks why John suddenly needs all this equipment. That is when Constantine reveals something worrying. During his last exorcism, a demon actually tried to enter the human world. This should not even be possible. Now John fears that something strange and dangerous is starting to happen. He asks Beeman to look into other similar cases because he believes this might be connected to something much bigger. After that, Constantine visits a church to meet Gabriel, a half-angel who sometimes helps him. John hopes Gabriel can convince God to cure his cancer. By coincidence, Angela is also there. She has come to speak with Father David because she wants Isabel to receive a proper Catholic burial. But sadly, both of them leave disappointed. The priest refuses Isabel's burial request because, according to church rules, taking your own life is considered a sin. At the same time, Gabriel also refuses to help Constantine. Gabriel coldly tells him that his selfish attitude and lack of faith make him unworthy of God's help. Both of them leave the church feeling hopeless. Angela waits outside for the rain to stop, but Constantine is too frustrated to care and simply walks out into the storm. Meanwhile, somewhere else in the city, Father Hennessy begins his investigation. Following Constantine's advice, he uses his supernatural gift to look deeper into strange cases connected to the recent possession. As he searches through old newspaper reports, one story catches his attention. It is about Isabel's death at the hospital. At the same time, Angela also starts investigating her sister's case by watching the hospital security footage. At first, everything looks normal, but then something impossible happens. Right before falling, Isabel suddenly turns and looks directly into the security camera. Then she says only one word: Constantine. Angela instantly remembers that name. It is the same strange exorcist she saw earlier at the church. Meanwhile, Constantine keeps walking through the rainy streets until he suddenly starts coughing again. But this time, something even worse happens. A mysterious man suddenly appears in front of him. At first, he looks normal, but then his body starts moving in a creepy way, revealing that he is actually a demon made from hundreds of insects. Without warning, the creature attacks John and throws him to the ground. But Constantine reacts quickly. He pulls out one of his strange magical tools and uses its loud sound to stun the monster for a few seconds. Using the chance, John runs toward the street, but suddenly the demon appears right in front of him again, blocking his path. Just when things look hopeless, a speeding car crashes straight into the creature. The demon explodes into a disgusting mess of insects everywhere. After surviving the attack, Constantine decides to get answers. He visits Papa Midnight's bar, a secret place where angels and demons quietly live together under strict rules. When John meets Papa Midnight, he explains everything that has been happening and says he believes demons are planning something dangerous, but Midnight disagrees. He reminds Constantine about the agreement between heaven and hell. According to this rule, demons are not allowed to freely enter the human world. Still, John is not convinced. Suddenly, a half-demon named Balthazar appears and starts mocking him. The demon smiles and tells Constantine that his soul will soon end up in hell anyway. Angry, John gets ready to kill the creature, but Papa Midnight quickly stops him. His bar is neutral ground, and violence is not allowed there. Frustrated and coughing badly again, Constantine is forced to leave. Later, when he returns home, Angela suddenly visits him. She asks for his help in finding out what really happened to Isabel, but Constantine refuses. Instead, he even jokes about her story, making Angela uncomfortable and upset. Feeling disappointed, she leaves, but only moments later, something terrifying happens. Dozens of dark, shadow-like creatures suddenly crawl through the apartment window and begin following Angela. Realizing she is in danger, Constantine rushes outside. He finds Angela near her car. Suddenly, all the streetlights begin shutting off one by one. At the same time, strange wing sounds fill the air from every direction. John immediately pulls Angela to safety. Then he quickly takes out one of his holy relics, a small piece of cloth said to belong to Moses' robe. He lights it with his lighter, and suddenly, a powerful blast of bright light spreads everywhere. The light reveals all the demons hiding in the darkness around them, and within moments, every single creature is completely destroyed. As soon as the danger is gone, the city lights slowly turn back on. Still catching his breath, Constantine tells Angela something disturbing. Those demons were not after him. They were after her. John now believes this attack is somehow connected to Isabel's death, and if they want answers, there is only one place left to look: hell. He says the only way to know the truth is to find Isabel's soul. Not long after, Constantine and Angela arrive at her apartment. Once inside, John asks her for 3 strange things: a pot filled with water, her cat, and for her to leave the apartment. Of course, Angela thinks this sounds crazy, but after everything she has already seen, she decides to trust him. While she waits outside, something impossible happens. Time suddenly stops. Everything around them becomes completely frozen. This strange effect happens because Constantine is crossing into another plane of existence. And just like that, John enters hell. But this is not the hell people usually imagine. Instead, it looks like a destroyed version of Earth. The whole place feels broken, dark, and hopeless. Everywhere he looks, there is pain, fear, and suffering. The air itself feels deadly. After searching for a long time, Constantine finally finds Isabel, but something terrifying is happening. She is trapped, forced to relive the moment of her death again and again. John watches as Isabel removes her hospital tag, throws it into the air, and jumps from the building once more. Realizing the tag might be important, Constantine runs to grab it, but the moment he moves, demons sense his presence. Suddenly, several terrifying creatures begin chasing him. With no time to lose, John jumps toward the falling hospital tag and catches it in midair. The demons get closer and closer, but just before they reach him, Constantine quickly uses a bottle of holy water. In an instant, he escapes back to Earth. Time immediately starts moving again. Angela sees Constantine standing there, badly burned and exhausted, and in his hand is Isabel's hospital tag. John then reveals terrible news. According to what he saw, Isabel's soul has been trapped in hell. Meanwhile, Father Hennessy continues his own investigation. He secretly goes to the morgue to examine Isabel's body. Using his supernatural abilities, he tries to discover what really happened to her. But during the process, something strange happens. A weird symbol suddenly appears on Isabel's arm. Then things get worse. Hennessy starts hearing disturbing voices inside his head. The sounds become so overwhelming that he desperately reaches for alcohol to calm himself. But strangely, when he tries to drink from his flask, nothing comes out. Confused and panicking, he rushes to a liquor store, but every bottle he grabs has the exact same problem. Nothing works. After several failed tries, he suddenly feels sick and collapses to the ground. Realizing death may be near, Hennessy decides to leave Constantine one final warning. Using a bottle opener, He cuts into his own hand and draws the same strange symbol he saw on Isabel. Then something horrifying happens. He suddenly starts throwing up large amounts of alcohol, and the truth becomes clear. The entire thing was an illusion. In reality, Father Hennessy had been drowning the whole time, and sadly, he dies. Standing nearby, secretly watching everything, is Balthazar, smiling as if this was all part of the plan. Completely unaware of Hennessy's death, Constantine later takes Angela to a diner. There, he finally explains the truth about himself. When he was a child, John had a strange gift. He could see creatures hidden from normal people, half-breeds, both angelic and demonic beings living secretly among humans. For years, these terrifying visions ruined his life. Eventually, young John could not take it anymore, so he tried to end his own life. But he survived. And because of that choice, Constantine believes his soul is now automatically condemned to hell. That is why he spends his life fighting demons, hoping somehow he can earn redemption before death comes for him. In the middle of their conversation, Angela suddenly receives terrible news. Father Hennessy is dead. John immediately goes with her to the scene. Seeing his old friend dead deeply affects him. But then Constantine notices something important. On Hennessy's hand is a strange symbol shaped like a cross inside a circle. The next morning, John asks Beeman to figure out what the symbol means. Meanwhile, he and Angela head to Isabel's old room to search for clues. There, Angela reveals something surprising. She explains that Isabel had paranormal abilities since childhood. Because of those strange powers, their parents eventually sent her to a mental hospital. When Constantine hears this, he realizes something important. If Isabel had these powers, then Angela should have them too. After all, they are twins. But Angela quickly denies it. John gets frustrated. He pushes her to stop lying and admit the truth. Feeling overwhelmed, Angela nervously walks toward the window. Finally, she confesses. Yes, she had the same gift. When they were young, she and Isabel used to secretly leave messages for each other on the glass window. Using her breath on the window, Angela suddenly reveals hidden writing left by Isabel. As the words slowly appear, Constantine notices something strange. A message about Book 17 of Corinthians. But there is one problem. No such book exists in the normal Bible. According to John, it only exists in a forbidden Bible from hell. Immediately, he calls Beeman and tells him to check the book. After reading the hidden passage, Beeman finally discovers the terrifying truth. Mammon, the son of Satan, is planning to escape hell and enter the human world. But there is a catch. To make this happen, Mammon needs two important things. First, a person with supernatural powers. Second, a holy object filled with divine power. As Beeman keeps reading, something suddenly feels wrong. Strange noises start coming from around his hideout. Then he begins feeling a horrible pain inside his body before he can even understand what is happening. Something disgusting crawls out from beneath his eyelid, a fly. Realizing something evil is happening, Constantine immediately rushes over with Angela, but sadly they arrive too late. Inside, they find Beeman dead. His body is covered in insects. Even worse, it looks like he suffocated as countless bugs somehow crawled out from inside him. Meanwhile, far away, Manuel is still carrying the Spear of Destiny. Completely controlled by dark forces, he approaches a man sitting in a car. Without warning, Manuel knocks him unconscious, steals the vehicle, and starts driving toward Los Angeles. Back at Constantine's apartment, John is still shaken by Beeman's death. Angela tries comforting him, but Constantine pushes her away. He warns her that everyone close to him ends up dying. If she stays around him, she might suffer the same fate. But Angela refuses to back down. She still wants answers about what really happened to Isabel. And now, she is ready to accept something she had been denying all this time, her supernatural gift. John tells her there is only one way to fully awaken her powers again. She must cross the line between the human world and the supernatural world. Angela agrees, so Constantine prepares a dangerous ritual. He fills a bathtub with water and explains that the process is similar to how he entered hell. But this time, Angela must stay completely underwater. Only then can she reconnect with her lost abilities. Angela nervously lies inside the bathtub. At first, everything feels normal, but slowly she begins drowning. Fear takes over, and she desperately tries to escape, but Constantine stops her. Angela struggles and fights against him. Then suddenly the ritual works. For a brief moment, Angela crosses between worlds, and when she comes back, her supernatural sight has returned. Now able to see hidden things again, Angela rushes to Beeman's hideout looking for clues. While searching, she finds something strange on the floor, a coin. The moment Constantine sees it, he recognizes it immediately. It belongs to Balthazar. At that moment, things become personal for John. Balthazar killed his friend, and now Constantine wants revenge. He gathers holy items and magical relics from Beeman's room and turns them into powerful weapons. Soon after, John and Angela head toward Balthazar's office, but Constantine tells Angela to stay in the car. Before leaving, he gives her Father Hennessy's protective amulet to keep her safe. A few minutes later, Balthazar stands casually in front of a mirror inside his office. But suddenly a gunshot blasts through the room. Constantine attacks first, throwing Balthazar backward. Then John splashes holy water onto his face. Instantly, the demon's true form starts showing. No longer hiding, Balthazar fights back. He slams Constantine against a wall and begins beating him hard, but John came prepared. He quickly pulls out a pair of brass knuckles covered with holy crosses. Then he starts punching the half-demon again and again. The powerful hits finally throw Balthazar onto a table. Now injured, Balthazar has no choice but to listen. Constantine demands answers. How exactly is Mammon planning to enter the human world? At first, Balthazar refuses to speak, so John does something unexpected. He takes out a Bible and starts reading prayers meant to purify souls. If successful, Balthazar would be forced into heaven, and for a demon, that sounds terrifying. Completely panicked, Balthazar finally gives in. He reveals the truth. Mammon plans to cross over using God's blood, which is hidden inside the Spear of Destiny. Now everything starts making sense. Constantine thanks him for the information. But before leaving, John laughs at Balthazar. He reminds him that forgiveness does not work that easily. Without asking for absolution, no demon gets saved. But then Balthazar suddenly notices Angela entering the room, and with a creepy smile, he reveals one more terrifying truth. Angela is the final piece Mammon needs to return. But before the demon can say anything else, Constantine shoots him, this time for good. With Balthazar finally dead, John and Angela quickly escape. But suddenly, Constantine realizes something terrible. Angela is no longer wearing Hennessy's protective amulet. She accidentally left it inside the car, and without it, she becomes vulnerable. Within seconds, a strange, invisible force suddenly grabs Angela. Before John can stop it, she gets violently pulled out of the building. Constantine desperately tries reaching her, but it is useless. Angela is taken away. With no time left, John teams up with Chaz and storms into Papa Midnight's bar. The moment Constantine finds him, he points a gun straight at Midnight. John demands his help in saving Angela, but Midnight refuses. He still wants to stay neutral and avoid getting involved in the fight between heaven and hell. But Constantine is desperate. He points a gun at Midnight and demands answers. Angry at being threatened, Midnight suddenly loses his patience. Using his supernatural powers, he throws Constantine hard against the wall and starts attacking him. Even while struggling in pain, John says something that changes everything. He reminds Midnight that Father Hennessy and Beeman were also his friends, and now both of them are dead because of Mammon's plan. Those words hit Midnight hard. For the first time, he starts feeling guilty. After thinking for a moment, Midnight finally decides to help his old friend. To find answers, he takes Constantine to a strange electric chair once used to execute prisoners. Over time, the suffering and souls of the dead turn the chair into a magical object. John sits down. Then Midnight places his feet in water and turns on the electricity. Suddenly, Constantine is pulled through space and time. Using the chair's power, John finally sees the truth. He discovers that Manuel, the man from Mexico, is carrying the Spear of Destiny. Even worse, Manuel has already arrived in Los Angeles, and he is now at the same hospital where Isabel died. But suddenly, Manuel somehow senses Constantine watching him. Before John can react, Manuel grabs him by the throat. Luckily, Midnight quickly pulls Constantine back at the last second. Now finally knowing where to go, Constantine wastes no time. He immediately heads to the hospital with Chaz. Before leaving, Chaz prepares all their weapons while John asks Midnight for a crucifix. Meanwhile, at the hospital, Angela suddenly crashes into the swimming pool. Confused and terrified, she slowly gets up, but then Manuel appears, walking slowly toward her. Angela quickly pulls out her gun and fires several shots. But something terrifying happens. The bullets go straight through Manuel's body like he is not even human. Panicking, Angela tries to run, but Manuel catches her. Then he forcefully pushes her underwater again and again. At the same time, Constantine and Chaz finally arrive. They split up. Chaz heads toward the hospital's water system. There, he drops the crucifix into the reservoir. Meanwhile, Constantine enters the building where dozens of half-demons are waiting, but there are too many of them. So John quickly comes up with a plan. He lights his lighter and activates the building's fire sprinklers. The demons laugh at first until they realize something horrifying. Because of the crucifix in the water system, the sprinklers are now spraying holy water. Suddenly, the half-demons start screaming. Their skin begins burning badly. Using the chance, Constantine pulls out his sacred weapon and starts taking them down one by one. Meanwhile, Manuel keeps drowning Angela inside the pool. Eventually, she is dragged into hell. And there, Mammon is waiting for her. Back inside the hospital, Constantine destroys the remaining half-demons with Chaz's help. Then both of them rush toward the pool. John jumps into the water and finds Manuel's lifeless body floating below. But before he can understand what happened, Angela suddenly rises from the water. Only now she is possessed by Mammon. Constantine immediately tries helping her, but possessed, Angela turns violent and starts drowning him instead. Luckily, Chaz jumps in just in time and pulls both of them out. Together, John and Chaz begin a ritual to remove Mammon from Angela's body. After a long struggle, they finally succeed. Angela is saved. Exhausted but relieved, Constantine thanks Chaz for helping him, but peace lasts only for a second. Suddenly, an invisible force grabs Chaz. Before anyone can react, he gets violently smashed against the ceiling and floor again and again. John desperately tries to save him, but the injuries are too serious, and sadly Chaz dies. Now completely broken and furious, Constantine decides he has had enough. He activates another spell using magical symbols carved into his arms. The spell is meant to reveal whoever has been secretly controlling everything, but the answer shocks him. Standing there is Gabriel. The angel calmly steps forward and violently knocks Constantine to the ground. John cannot believe it. He asks the question no one expected. Why? And Gabriel finally reveals the truth. Everything happening was part of a plan. Gabriel wants Mammon to enter the human world and turn Earth into hell. Because Gabriel believes humans have become weak, only suffering, pain, and fear can force people to truly believe in God again. After revealing this terrifying plan, Gabriel violently throws Constantine through a glass door. Then Gabriel brings Mammon back into Angela's body. Now, using the Spear of Destiny, Gabriel prepares to fully release him into the world. Constantine is weak, broken, and completely out of options. So, he makes a shocking choice. He grabs a sharp piece of broken glass and cuts himself. The moment he does, time suddenly freezes. Everything around him stops moving. And then, someone appears. Not just any demon. It is Lucifer himself. The devil has finally come in person to collect the one soul he has wanted for years. John Constantine's soul. Lucifer calmly walks toward him, almost amused, but at the same time he is confused. He asks John why he tried ending his own life again. To Lucifer, this feels suspicious. He thinks Constantine might be playing another trick, but John quickly explains the real reason. He says he only did this to warn Lucifer. His son, Mammon, is trying to enter the human world with Gabriel's help. At first, Lucifer does not believe him. Still, he decides to check for himself. In an instant, Lucifer appears inside the pool room, and there, he sees Gabriel standing over Angela, preparing to stab her with the Spear of Destiny and fully bring Mammon into the world. Now Lucifer realizes Constantine was telling the truth. Without hesitation, he grabs Angela and pulls her away. The moment he does, time starts moving again. Gabriel is shocked. Standing right in front of him is Lucifer himself. Lucifer looks furious. He tells Gabriel one important thing. He will never allow Mammon to rise, not because he cares about humanity, but because he knows his son wants to steal his throne and power. Without wasting another second, Lucifer forcefully sends Mammon back to hell. Gabriel desperately tries stopping him, but suddenly something feels wrong. Gabriel realizes his angelic powers are gone. Because of all the evil things he has done, God has rejected him. He is no longer an angel. Lucifer laughs. Taking advantage of the moment, he burns Gabriel's wings and throws him into the pool. Just like that, Gabriel falls from grace. After dealing with everything, Lucifer calmly walks back to Constantine. Now it is finally time. John's soul belongs to hell. Surprisingly, Constantine accepts his fate, but before leaving, he makes one final request. He asks Lucifer to save Isabel's soul and send her to heaven. Lucifer laughs. Even at the end, John is still trying to save someone else. Still amused, Lucifer decides to grant the wish, and finally he starts dragging Constantine toward hell. But then something strange happens. A mysterious force suddenly pulls John back. Moments later, a bright heavenly light appears in front of them. Lucifer looks closer, and what he sees shocks him. Paradise. Heaven itself. Slowly, Constantine starts rising upward. That is when Lucifer understands the truth. John's final act, sacrificing himself to save Angela and stop Mammon, has forgiven his sins. For the first time in years, Constantine is going to heaven. Even while floating upward, John cannot resist teasing Lucifer. So, with a small smile, he shows the devil the middle finger. But Lucifer is not ready to lose his favorite soul. Not yet. So, he does something shocking. He reaches into Constantine's body and removes his lung cancer. Just like that, Lucifer gives him another chance to live, because he still believes John truly belongs in hell someday, and he is willing to wait. Moments later, Lucifer disappears. Soon after, both John and Angela wake up alive. After everything they survived together, they quietly left the hospital. But suddenly, someone rises from the pool. It is Gabriel. Only now Gabriel is completely human, weak, powerless. Still angry, Gabriel hands John a gun, hoping Constantine will give in and pull the trigger. But instead, John punches Gabriel straight in the face. For the first time, Gabriel finally understands what pain feels like. A few days later, Constantine meets Angela again on top of a building. The two quietly say goodbye. Before leaving, John gives Angela the Spear of Destiny for safekeeping. He trusts her with it. In the end, Constantine starts thinking about everything that happened. Maybe this was God's plan all along, or maybe not. Either way, he has been given a second chance, and this time he refuses to waste it. So, John finally gives up the smoking habit that almost killed him, replacing cigarettes with chewing gum instead. Later, Constantine visits Chaz's grave at the cemetery. He quietly leaves behind his lighter as one last goodbye, but as he walks away, something surprising happens. John turns back and sees Chaz. Only now his friend has become an angel, peacefully flying toward heaven, and just like